more solutions flooding the market. And that's causing a degree of confusion because now contractors are wondering, what's my solution stack need to look like? And the last thing I would say that they're struggling with a little bit is, how do we correlate all these new solutions and technologies to process change? We do need to change our processes. For many contractors, their processes are anchored to what they did 30 years ago when it was manual or spreadsheet, and then maybe a first generation new system. And they've never really examined that. And now they've got all this new technology and they're still trying to abide their older systems. So I think there are some exciting opportunities going on in the industry. There's also some challenges that we have to overcome if we're going to fully realize the potential.
Great. Thank you, Christian. Denise, we want to hear from you as well. How do these survey results align with Clune's plans?
Sure. I think we align pretty well with the survey results. We're definitely in a position to grow, as most of the companies in the survey. Clune has been in a growth mode for several years now. We learned early on that as we grow, we have to try new things and adapt to new ways of working. 25 years ago, we were a 2-office, 75-person construction firm. Today, we're at over 650 employees and doing more than $1.3 billion in revenue. So as you grow, the diversity of your workforce tends to grow as well, and we found that to be true at Clune. We're bringing lots of new people who have fresh ideas and perspectives. And as a result, we aren't surrounded by people who have been stuck doing the same things a certain way for the past 25 years. We can make technology integration easier for us. In terms of remote or hybrid work, we have already started approaching that path before the pandemic and continue to encourage flexibility now. Flexibility is one of the things that everyone's looking for. When I worked from home a few days a week as early as 2016, it wasn't uncommon for people to assume that if you weren't at the office sitting at your desk, then you weren't working. You were either on vacation or you must be out sick. So when people saw an empty desk, they would wait to talk to me about a challenge or an idea until I came back into the office the next day. So now, with many of us working from home, this no longer happens. Everyone is much more accessible, and we collaborate much more efficiently thanks to platforms like Microsoft 365 and SharePoint.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective, Denise. So now that we better understand what many professionals in the AEC community expect in the next year, let's talk through some trends on the horizon. The first trend is one that stood out on the survey Jason just shared, and it involves the integration of ERP, CRM, and marketing automation tools. Jason, tell us a little bit about what you're seeing.
Yeah, based on the survey results, these tools, ERP, CRM, marketing automation, were the top 3 tools that construction companies told us they would roll out or update in 2022. So not only will companies be using these tools, but I also anticipate they'll be looking for ways to integrate that tech stack to achieve the results they expect in efficiencies. And I know just as we develop our tools, we're always looking for ways that we can make sure that we are integrating that within the tech stack. The industry will start to move away from those siloed systems that don't talk to each other. And as contractors compare tools, deciding between industry agnostic platforms like Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics, and even tools specific to AEC community like a Deltek or a Uninet, for example, they'll want to think about how these tools are going to fit with the platforms they already use.
I agree. We've also integrated some of these tools into client-facing platforms as well. For example, our ERP system is typically an internal system. We've merged that with our CRM, so our project managers, superintendents, accounting team, marketing, and business development teams all work in one platform. But we're planning to push some of that information out to a client portal so customers can see it too. That should happen within the next year. Everything will be open and transparent for clients in terms of project management and finances. They'll be able to see what each dollar is going to in real time.
How interesting. And I think that that's a great example of how technology can be integrated for internal and external benefits. And this leads us right into the second trend on our list today, which is the integration of input tools or devices. Christian, could you tell us what this means for the industry?
Sure. Well, I think that it's a very positive direction, and certainly needs some time to work out the kinks and so forth. But IoT and OCR, telematics are three different technologies that all replace the idea of keying data. We're going to look back on this time that we've had in the last 20 years of keying data in on a keyboard and wonder, oh, back in the old days, that's how we used to do it. Because with IoT, you're able to get data into your system from other technologies, wearable computing, as an example, or sensors that are part of a building or something. Telematics is when you're getting your data, like maintenance management data, operating data from your equipment into your ERP system or equipment management. And OCR is simply optical character recognition, where data off of an invoice or a PO or a timesheet or some record can be read and automated. The capture can be automated. So I think that many solution providers are looking to those types of technologies to speed the input and improve accuracy. I think that's the other key, is with the emphasis that we're going to have going forward on data and business intelligence, we've got to clean up the underlying data. And one of the ways to do that is to automate the function so we don't have the typical mistakes made when you're keying data. So I'm very, very hopeful as these technologies advance and improve.
Christian, it's kind of funny as you were talking about the OCR software. It reminded me of what happens when you make a mobile deposit into your bank account. Is it kind of the same thing?
Yes, exactly. You put the check in the ATM slot, and then you see. I mean, it can be a handwritten check, and the OCR will actually read that and display back how much your deposit is. So that's exactly the way OCR can work. I mean, I'll just give you one example, but I was in a construction company probably 2 years ago now, and it was a pretty big firm. And I walked into their main accounting office, and I had just missed the mailman by, I don't know, 30 minutes. And on their lobby desk, probably somewhere between 500 and 800 pieces of mail, most of them invoices, that somebody had to open, scan, or copy, route manually, enter. I mean, it was a horrendous process. If there's an area that we're going to be cleaning up this decade pretty quickly using OCR and other technologies, it'll be the whole procurement to payable processing. And OCR is a great tool that's been established, I think, for a good amount of time, and will help this process immensely.
That's really interesting. Thank you. What other examples of automation like this do you foresee in construction?
Well, I think that we're going to see a good example would be on job sites, the ability to monitor job sites with photography and video, whereby actually non-compliant safety practices can be identified through an automation. So the video is actually monitoring for hard hats, fall protection, safety vests, those sorts of things. Wearable computing,